they come now, the top fuelers. That's Jimmy Reed. Look at him. He does a little smoking here at the quarter-mile track here at Eastern Creek. The man that's really set the sport alight here in Australia, the Australian champion. He's been a great ambassador, Milt, all around the world, and he's up against Rod Bradshaw.
Yes, the track's had a little rain this afternoon, so they may be a little cautious in this first round. What we've got to realise here, these cars put out 4,000 horsepower. That's a horsepower shedding exercise all the way down the track. And when you've got 4,000 horsepower under your right foot on a track that's an unknown quantity, having had a little bit of rain this afternoon, I wouldn't like to put money on either of these guys, because too much horsepower could in fact lose this race, Darryl.
Exactly, yeah. It's been pretty slippery out here. We had a storm at Eastern Creek a little earlier this afternoon, and there has been some activity on the circuit to try and wear it in to get some bite in the track. And of course, Jim Reed and Rod Bradshaw will need all of the help they can get. Now just watch these rear tyres light up. They really distort as the cars come off the line. What sort of speed can we expect Jimmy Reed to turn in here at Bradshaw?
Normally you're looking at in excess of 250 miles per hour.
250 miles an hour on a quarter-mile strip of tar. Watch this happen, Australia. Fantastic stuff here. Jimmy Reed, you're seeing the best out early. Rod Bradshaw.
First light on, that's the pre-stage. One more light to go. There'll be one flash of amber and they'll be gone.
All happens in just a blink of an eye. Rod Bradshaw, look at the eyes fixed on the Christmas tree, waiting for the lights to come. Up go, you'll see the plumes of flame come out of these exhausts. Jimmy Reed getting himself set. Here we go. Look at Reed, gets it down on a big slingshot off the line of Jimmy Reed. Oh, he's informed tonight. Jimmy Reed blasts his way down the quarter mile.
A 5.68 elapsed time, and Darryl, we promised you 250 miles an hour. We got 250.56. Rod Bradshaw breaking traction, going 6.29, shutting down to 167 miles an hour.
Jimmy Reed just had the whole place rocking and rolling here. Plenty of shaking around the stands. The crowd just absolutely love him. Okay, so the American taking on the Victorian, Glenn Micris from the US of A. That's Glenn Micris there. Nicely turned out vehicle too, and Pete Davis is, watch these tyres distort as they light them up. It's unbelievable. They just completely change shape and they just like stand tall, don't they?
Well, that also happens down in the deep end.
The intensity in the eyes. I mean, it all happens so quickly. The reaction time so important for once that tree starts to light up and they get that power down. And of course, it all looks like it happens pretty easy in a straight line, but controlling one of these things, a big handful.
Well, that driver has a lot to think about before going into stage. There's a lot more to this than driving up to the starting line and tramping the feather.
Set now. Glenn Micris from the US of A in the blue and gold car, and the black and hot pink colours. Keith Hayes from out of Victoria. Here they go. The American gets away pretty well. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, sir. Wow, have a listen to that. The whole stand is starting to shake here, and the crowd love him. Oh, the crowd love him.
Yes, sirree. Glenn really showing the way to the deep end with a 266.59 terminal speed. That is 1 mile an hour off the national terminal speed record, and a 5.38 elapsed time. Big hole shot for Micris to take that win.
Oh, reaction time sensational too.
Actually, Glenn with a slightly slower reaction time than Keith Aegis, but the car reacting much better after that and going away for a convincing.
Look at it come off the line.
But
Rachelle Splatt from Victoria taking on Robin Kirby.
And Rachelle, of course, the daughter of a very famous drag racer, Ian Splatt, who is a pioneer of drag racing in this country. Because these cars are all running large aluminium aftermarket hemispherical chambered V8 engines, supercharged, fuel injected and running on nitromethane fuel. A fuel that carries its own oxygen content as distinct from the alcohol brackets, which we'll see up next.
Robin Kirby moves up now into position. Here we go. Watch for the track. Here we go. Great start from both girls. Got away very well. But it's Rachelle Splatt that really came out of the blocks. And wow. Well, let's have a look at that.
A 5.84, 240 miles an hour neat for the little lady. 5.8 for a reaction time of 0.57 of a second. faster off the starting line than Robin Kirby, a 5.9 for Robin, shutting off to an 8.1 at 111 miles an hour. But a little lady goes 5.84, 240 miles per hour.
Well, once she got the bite, the horsepower took over, didn't it? Really just dug in and let go. Stay right where you are. Australia-born drag racing from Eastern Creek after the break. Alcohol cars coming out. We've got a mixed bag here, Mill.
Yes, funny cars and dragsters together, but we have two funny cars in the first race of the round. Dale Pedersen in the white pearl Chevy Beretta bodied car, and Vic Baker from Sydney in the red and blue Corvette bodied car. Both cars running Keith Black aluminium engines, and you can see those escape hatches opening on both of the funny cars on the back up from the burnout to let the smoke out from the interiors of these cars.
Okay, so Vic Baker sitting there in the red and blue car will take on Dale Pedersen in the white car. All ready to go.
First round or top alcohol?
The funny cars about to do their thing at Eastern Creek here in Sydney. Conditions fantastic, a massive crowd in attendance, and away we go. Oh, gee whiz, it was a pretty even start. Oh, gets a little sideways too. Oh, and Baker does the business.
Baker going through first, and Dale Pedersen shutting off immediately. He crosses the centre line, as is required by the stewards. Vic Baker, a 4.99 reaction time, goes 6.63, 213.78 miles an hour. Dale Pedersen shutting down. Right, Gary Phillips with a huge burnout across the starting line.
Well, this is going to be a beauty, isn't it? Because David Glenwright and Gary Phillips have got a lot of respect for each other. I suppose that's putting it mildly.
Yeah, well, I won't go into that one. But these guys are heavy hitters of the first class order in this bracket. So there's a lot resting on this race because we're running in low. The pushback girls are really dressing up for the day-to-day. But yes, that's Karen Brew, I'm led to believe.
Flojo costume.
Yes, definitely. But we're running in match race trim for this eliminator this weekend, so we're having paired passes, and of course the two fastest elapsed times go into the final.
Well, Gary Phillips and David Glenwright, what we're saying is there's a lot of competitive spirit between these two. They don't probably mix too much around the garage scene, but they really like to see each other on the track. This should be a ripper, and that's not a bad costume.
Yes, Karen certainly doing her bit to add to the glamour of the Posibond Racing team's image.
A showdown between two very strong competitors, David Glenwright, Gary Phillips. That's Phillips.
Gary Phillips in the Aussie Bananas car, so obviously a Queenslander.
Visors are down. This should be a real drag-down stopper, this one.
David Glenwright, of course, driving for Posibond Racing, and Gary Phillips driving for Gary Phillips and Aussie Bananas.
All set now. Plenty of tension around the track here. They know there's plenty of feeling in this particular match race coming up.
A little slow to bring on that second light.
They're holding them back a long time. Here we go. They're away for a pretty even start too. But Phillips seems to get the edge. Oh no, Glenwright! Oh, Glenwright mowed him down with a big run there. He came from nowhere to nail him. Good stuff.
Yes, Posibond with the best reaction time. The Posibond car with the best reaction time. Glenwright pulls a 4.5 on Gary Phillips, goes 6.23 an elapsed time, 220.59 miles per hour. Gary Phillips with a 0.47 reaction, 6.42, 2.15.
Want to see this because they came out of the blocks together. Now watch this. From behind, just comes up, gathers him up and says, catch me if you can.
And it's noticeable that Posibond's car is faster in terminal speed because Gary Phillips is running a big top fuel wing on that car, which pushes the car down but slows him down in terminal speed.
No doubt about that. Oh, that was good stuff, wasn't it? And Glenwright just came from behind and nailed him in a ripper. Here we go, Les Winter in the Wild Bridge bike car, the Chevy 55. Look at him spurring it up. And Ben Gatt in the multi-coloured car here. We're going to see some action here. I just love this class of car. The Chevy, I think, sensational.
Wild Bunch Racing, one of the most exciting forms of drag racing ever to be introduced. And of course, another Ford versus Holden confrontation. We saw a bit of Ford versus Holden in front of the crowd earlier this afternoon, and it's all back again. Ben Gatt, the hero of the Ford set, running a 351 Cleveland with a supercharger, and Les Winter with a blown Rodec, which is an aftermarket Chevy pattern engine with a Lenco transmission in the 55 Chev. A Ford versus Chevy confrontation.
I'm on the Wild Fridge. I'm on the Chevy.
You won't get any of my money, Darryl.
Watch this thing leave the line. It smokes its head off. It does the twitch and it just rockets. Let me tell you.
And runs 190 mile an hour when it feels like it.
I just love this car. Sensational last year, the big Chevs, and we've got some better ones to come yet too. But this thing, it really is a business. And Ben Gatt, he'll be in there trying too. Very quick motor car. Holding, away they go. Ah, Gatt got the jump, no doubt about it. Come on the Fridge, come on the Chevy from behind. Oh, can't do it, can't do it. The Fridge has been wiped. Oh, defrosted, one go. Oh boy, what a letdown.
Well, Ben Gatt, of course, getting 4/10 of a second start, but a good lead for Benny Boy there. A .44 against Les Winner's .61, a 782 at 176 miles an hour.
I'm filthy on the Fridge. Next matchup.
Victor Bray in the Castrol 57 Chevy, one of the most famous drag racing sedans of all time and a crowd favourite. And your old mate, Darryl, Andrew Constantinou in the blue Holden.
Constantinou, I'll get it right this time, Andrew. Don't worry about that. Andrew Constantinou.
And he's brought his friends along again.
Ah, yeah. That's the butcher, Andrew Constantinou from New South Wales, taking on Victor Bray, the legendary black car beside him. This will be a ripper 1-2. Watch Bray if it does the business, because it just leaps off the line. Let me tell you, this is the new version of what we saw last year, and that was sensational.
Yes, for a tomato farmer, he's pretty quick.
Set for a start. Here we go. Oh, beautiful. The butcher out of the box. Quick, and he bet fall back. Look at Bray. The butcher gets sideways, and Bray comes storming home. Oh, big run from Bray. Oh, late start, but didn't he come home?
Good reaction time for Victor. A .46, runs a 794 at 177 miles an hour. And the butcher, he hasn't weighed in too well today. A 9.58 at 147.
177 mile an hour. Can you believe it? Replay. Let's see what went wrong. Milt.
Well, of course, it's a handicap eliminator. The Victor getting the better start at .46 and a .5 for Andy. But Andy just tap dancing around on the gear change there and getting a bit crossed up. Victor with the pedal on the middle all the way to the back door.
Oh, it's solid, is it? When it comes home, just dead straight and fast. Beautifully turned out too, Jeff Devlin from the ACT. The whole, the new part of the Wild Bunch, and you can see why they're called the Wild Bunch. They are a wild bit of gear. Alan Fountain from New South Wales in the Falcon. Remember, there's a slight handicap here, so one will get the jump. There it goes. Oh, nicely done, though. Can he run him down from behind? The two utes and full on. Here at Eastern Creek, listen to the roar. The crowds love them too. They're upset. Oh, more of that. We don't mind the utes. Where's the catalogue in the back? He'd have the ears pinned back.
Yes, a good one. An 8.29 for Al Fountain at 165 miles an hour. Going right past Jeff Devlin's 147 mile an hour pass. Back
we go, more Chevy action. This is my stuff. Lucky Valeri and Cole Dunn in the Chev.
Cole Dunn in the Super Performance 55.
Look at it smoking up. Oh, I love the Chevy. He's getting sideways, just getting warmed up.
And 541 cubic inches of big block in the Chev, and a small block, 280 cubic inch small block in Lucky Valeri's beautiful little Commodore.
Okay, so Valeri, Lucky's toy, he calls it.
Cole's lost the plot a bit. He's backing up way off mark, waiting for his wife Anita to back him up there. He's about 3 feet off his tyre tracks.
Well, you can see the rubber there just took a sharp kick to the right. How do you follow that back?
Anita trying to get him back into those tyre tracks, because it is very, very important at this early stage of the meeting, as the track comes in, that they use all the traction that they can get.
Greg Thompson in the Chevy now sets himself to take on Lucky Valeri. So it's Thompson and Valeri. Here we go, away they go. Both get away well. The Chevy lifts out. Oh, it still kicks itself sideways, gets a little bit, and he's fouled. He's fouled. Well, the warm-up didn't help him, and he didn't learn any lessons because he did exactly the same thing race start.
Yes, the Dunn and Thompson car fouling on the starting line, and Lucky Baleri getting a freebie.
He's copped the foul, yeah, his reaction time. So just too quick, too eager. And boy, oh boy, he really had to fight that thing down there. Alcohol races out on the track now as they prepare for this battle. We've got Stan Tyndall and Gary Phillips in a matchup.
Gary Phillips in the red and white Aussie Bananas car, and Stan Tyndall, a former champion Top Fuel drag boat racer turned dragster driver.
So just completing their burnouts and getting set up now. Stan Tyndall in the Stanola and Gary Phillips in a very well prepared and pretty car.
Notice in the backup there on Gary Phillips Aussie Bananas car, the immense rear end in that car, not derived from an automotive transmission, a specialist built differential built especially for dragsters. A great big huge strong aluminium housing there, and of course it has to be strong to take the immense horsepower that these alcohol engines put out. Alcohol engines putting out in excess of 2,000 horsepower. Gary Phillips losing in the first round because we're running match race format, and the two fastest ETs will go in the final.
Getting set now, you can see the look on the driver's eyes, the determination, and that's what they'll be fixed on, that tree of lights there. Here we go, the standby lights working, ready for a start. Here we go, good. Oh, Phillips away very quickly too. Tyndall starts to pick him up now, but Phillips will get his gauge. Tyndall worked over to the line there. I'm not sure if he really blew that. Let's have a look.
A good 4.7 reaction time, a good hole shot by Gary Phillips, run 6.30 at 217 miles an hour.
217.81 mile an hour. Look at this, he got over the line really well. Now watch Tyndall. Tyndall started to drift over that centre line. Oh boy, yes he did too. But Phillips made a clear shot of it and plenty of power as he raced down to the line at well over 200 miles an hour. Big burnout here from Alan Dobson in the Castrol car. Look at the smoke just pouring off the back of this one.
Good point on this car too, Darryl. You'll notice from the front shots, this car has a huge injector intake. It's got a 4-throttle body, or 4 circles in the injector intake. You compare it with the car on Dale Pedersen, or the injector on Dale Pedersen's white car. That's a huge air intake on the Dobson car.
All set to go. Alan Dobson in the multicoloured Castrol car against Dale Pedersen in the Pearl Bunny car, the all-white car. Standby lights are there. Now the tree starts to work. Watch for the start. Here they go, lighting up. Oh, Dobson got it down quick. Pedersen starts to fight back, but Dobson too good, too strong. Oh, he's come out of the hole in a big way there. Roared down the quarter mile. Let's have a look at the time. 225.34 mile an hour for a time of 6.238.
And Alan Dobson's funny car going 6.23 faster than Gary Phillips's top alcohol dragster with a 6.3. So looks like this West Australian-based funny car could end up in the final.
Reaction time there too, 0.496 against 0.515. Steve Reed this time from the United Kingdom. The Englishman out in the Castrol car. Has the engine running. Watch him to light him up here as he get the crowd going too. Here he goes. Watch these tyres totally distort when he starts to burn it out. They're bouncing down the line. There they go. And look at that. They go from fat to skinny in 1 second. Unbelievable. John Noonan, the Top Gun car, his competition. He really lights them up.
John having to be very careful not to cross that centre line even on the burnout.
Steve Reed from the UK, a big reputation coming to Australia.
Yes, a man of international renown, has raced in the United States very successfully and is an outstanding racer in Great Britain and the continent. And you'll see the TAD markings on that car. New terminology for this year, top alcohol dragster, being the terminology that is current. Yes, pre-stage on. Reed staged, Noonan staged.
Here we go. Oh, the Englishman out quick, but so was Noonan to follow up. This is really close. Ah, too good, the Englishman. In the end, he came out and really powered to the line with a time of 216.03 and a foul to Noonan. Fouled it out, so the Englishman kept the power down. His time was 6.277.
Yes, 400ths or 4/10ths of a second just slower than the previous run, so it's a real battle to get into that.
And Noonan fouling out on that run.
Yes, Noonan with a .397. That's 0.003 of a second too quick on the starting line, Darryl. I guess you can be forgiven for doing that occasionally.
Much more to come from the top fuelers here at Eastern Creek. Stay where you are. Players are coming out to play, only this time it's not a guy. It's Rachelle Splatt in the pink car here. And Rachelle really is going to have a job ahead of her because she's got Jim Reed as a competition, but she has beaten Jim Reed before. Yes, Jim's transmission or rear end let go last time he raced Rachelle. And there's Jim burning out, and you can see why, with over 4,000 horsepower in either of these cars. So you're looking at a combination of almost 8,000 to 9,000 horsepower in the one race, Darryl. Unbelievable stuff here. Jimmy Reed lights him up. He doesn't like to be beaten. Rachelle Splatt has made a big impression here right through the day in the pink car. Cute as a Cupid doll with 4,000 horsepower under her right foot. We've got some terms for this girl. Cute as a button, cute as a Cupid doll. She's pretty fast at that. The hot pink car. Look at this. This is the sight the drag racers love to see. The fans have come to see. Yes, unless you've ever seen or heard a nitromethane engine run, you've never heard a racing. The entire grandstand where we're sitting on top of here absolutely shakes as these monsters come down at unbelievable speeds. Yes, Reed running 250 miles an hour. Look at the eyes on him in that red Winfield car. Running 250 miles an hour. First off on a fresh track. The track is better. The air is considerably better, Darryl, because it's cooler. A fabulous evening at Eastern Creek. And of course, the American Glenn Micris, will see him coming up shortly. Actually went quicker than the 250 mile an hour of Jim Reed. So there's a lot to be done here. Rachelle Splatt. That's Rachelle. She's set. Jim Reed, she's on. Let's have a look at this. Wait till you hear these things. Wait till you see the flame just belch from the exhaust. Both ready. Now they're both ready. Here we go. Line up now as Reed comes out of the blocks. Rachelle doing the meshing cut with Reed. Oh, too good. And what about the thunder? What about the noise from Reed? Sensational run. Let's have a look at the time here. 258 miles an hour. Oh boy, with a time of 5.655. And the little lady with the cute boot in it right to the deep end. The cute boot, I love it. Look at this off the line. Reed lights everything up. The track starts to shake, really rattle and roll, and Rachelle not disgraced in any way. Never a disgrace to get beaten by Jim Reed, but you notice some little incendiaries coming out of those exhaust pipes. Quite often, Darryl, they're little pieces of molten piston. No doubt about that. Spectacular stuff there, and you can see that's exactly the trouble that Rachelle had. One bank of the engine there not firing up. You can see the smoke pouring out of it. Yes, I guess there'll be a few cheap pistons available as souvenirs in the Rachelle Splatt pit. Well, the American Glenn Micris has just had a look at Jim Reed and what he can do. Micris, of course, on the first run here in round one, set a time of 266 miles an hour. He gets set for a solo run. It doesn't look like Rod Bradshaw is going to make it out to the line on time. Oh, look at the American starting to roll. The vibration coming out of this thing is unbelievable. Yeah, that was a bit of a skull cracker, that one, and a fantastic shot. Now look at this. You're looking at a camera we've got on top of that enormous wing, and this will be the sight that you'll see in one of our replays coming down the straight on Micris's car. This will be something to see. Backs it up now. Micris knows that Reed is his competition so far. He's already bettered him by a number of miles an hour. His best time so far is 266 miles an hour. Backs it up. Looks like the Yank taking on the top dog Australian.
Yes, the two lowest ETs will get into the final round. We're running match race series, and then the two lowest ETs into the final round. What a fabulous shot, Darryl.
That is a great shot, and I can't wait to see the replay from that angle. It'll be something else.
I'd buy a print of that.
Because that track really starts to narrow down when you look at it at that point of view, isn't it? I mean, a quarter mile, but she tapers down pretty hard at the end.
Yeah, well, the Beatles wanted us to come with them on a magic carpet ride. I think you're going to come on more than a magic carpet ride with Glenn Micros.
Okay. Set. Interested now. The visor comes down. Time to show Jim Reed what the American's going to do. Oh, see it come off the line. Have a look. Oh, it comes past us. Unbelievable. Let's have a look at the time.
5.88 seconds at 2:59. Still faster in the terminal speed than Jim Reed, but it's the ETs that'll get him into the final round.
Full 5.888 at 2:59.07. Here we go. Look at this. Look at the flames. Look at the vibration. And look at that track narrow down. You're sitting on top of the yank as you go down Eastern Creek's quarter mile.
And that's all the time it takes for a real race.
This guy has been electric tonight. He just lit it up a little bit of a back off there for a second. Shuts it down straight away. Spectacular action. Flames belching. The whole thing vibrating. The stands just can't believe the noise. And what about that? Not his best time in speed. 2:59 against 2:66. Shut it down pretty quick, as you saw there. Keith Aegis coming out now. Hollywood, better known as, he doesn't mind a little bit of glitter. We're seeing a bit of sparkle come out of the exhaust tonight by Gina. Mike was running, have him psyched up, fired up, and he lights it up too.
Drag racing's answer to Billy Ray Cyrus.
Keith Aegis. Oh dear.
And Robin Kirby in the Federal Mogul car in the other lane.
As they back up now, Robin Kirby, Keith Hollywood Aegis getting set for a big one. Doesn't mind putting the name on the helmet either, Hollywood.
Party anytime.
Big and gold.
Race anytime.
Sounds like my sort of guy.
Ladies, you're missing the side of your life under this helmet, but you can apply at his pit.
Of course, the competition, Robin Kirby, the black and red car.
Looking very serious.
Yeah, the Victorian's got the race face on that and about that. Look at Hollywood too. The eyes are flicking around. He's looking for a camera. He's found it.
Giving the crew a few terse instructions there.
Okay, just wants it lined up a little better, a little straighter. They're spectacular. There's no doubt about that. There's flames belch out of here. There's tyres distort.
What you have here, Darryl, is a real live race car.
Ah, sensational. The rubber burns, just the smell, the sound, the sight. Here at Eastern Creek has everybody on their toes. 40,000, well, in excess of that, I would think, here tonight on a beautiful night at Eastern Creek. We've had storms go over us and we've had plenty of fireworks on the circuit tonight. Look at this, lit up, beautiful sight. Yes. Who said Eastern Creek wouldn't work?
Sorry, Bob.
Looking down from the top of the hill where the dragsters finished the quarter mile, and away they go. Well, there's been a bit of a muck-up. Hollywood didn't get off the line. Robin Kirby thunders down. No contest that time round.
A few little grenades out of Robin Kirby's car.
A lot of expensive smoke and steam coming out of that engine, I would think.
Yes, that's a wounded warrior.
Off the line. What about the grunt? What about the noise? What about the smell? What about the rubber? And what about the expense at the end of this? Did it all right. The competition failed, but so did the engine.
Drag racers don't really care if they go across the finish line. It's just spitting flames out the exhaust. Once you're across the finish line ahead of your opponent, doesn't matter a darn.
Jeff Burnett from Queensland now coming out. Beautifully turned out motor car. Watch him light it up now. His competition will be Rod Bradshaw, who couldn't make it out to an earlier showdown, but has got the car running, so he's going to go off against Jeff Burnett here. Burnett on picture.
Jeff, a very experienced racer, right from day one in drag racing, was a star of the old Gasser Wars back in Surfers Paradise days, frequently seen lately in top alcohol, and has made the step this weekend into top fuel dragster racing.
Pretty wimpy burnout.
Well, maybe Bradshaw's not in the other lane. They don't want to use up any bits. We haven't seen the other lane yet, Darryl.
I like the smoke.
There's nobody there. You don't use up the dollars.
I like the noise. Waiting for Bradshaw to come. Is he there? We're just... Oh, there's Bradshaw, so he's there. They're very similar sort of car colours at this night from where we're sitting. Both there. So it's Burnett against Bradshaw. It's Burnett.
Burnett going forward to stage. We don't know what's happening with Bradshaw there. Just can't see the other lane at the moment.
I can see a Chevy coming out in the background. I don't care.
That's Wild Bunch coming right up next.
The Chevys are coming.
We better get you a license, Darryl.
So Burnett, Bradshaw. A little bit of a delay going on here with Bradshaw. No, he says, I'm fine. The visor's down. Let's get on with it.
Waiting for Bradshaw to stage. He's in.
Okay, away they go. Oh, even money too at the start. Watch them come out the line. Well, Bradshaw's had a big problem, I would think. Oh, Burnett with a roar.
And the burner well named because he's burning.
Oh, yeah, Bradshaw had a big problem off the line. You saw the engine just light up there. There's flames licking out everywhere. He was never in the hunt, although off the line it looked all right. But about 2 seconds in, he started to have some major problems. Have a look at the car on the right-hand side of your screen. There it goes, lit up like a Chrissy tree. Oh, another expensive one. Whooshka, plenty of dollar notes.
I think that could have been a clutch explosion, Darryl. It looked like a lot of magnesium sparks from behind the engine, but whatever it is, that was a big bunch of 67-cent Australian dollars.
Well, Burnett might have done a little wimpy sort of a burnout, but he really won that. But look at that. That's got to be expensive. There's lots of flames, lots of smoke, and I shouldn't be laughing because someone's got to pay for it.
We thought the fireworks were later in the program.
Oh, on the left, just burning away, and of course shut down as quickly as possible. It happened about 2 seconds in, as you saw it. So Burnett gets through. Let's have a look at his time after all of that. 244.43, a time of 6:05.8. More Wild Bunch action to test the quarter mile here at Eastern Creek shortly. So look at the Chevy starting to smoke. Yes, sir. Money's on the Chevy, Bill.
You're still not going to get any more money, Darryl.
Ben Gatt now, of course, in the big Ford.
Yes, a favourite with the Ford fans, a blown 351 Cleveland. People say it can't put superchargers on Cleveland's. Tell the Gatts that. They've been running this car for years, and they have a new car ready to go.
Okay, Cole done. All set. The Wild Bunch are back in town. Here we go. Watch these guys slip and slide and get down the quarter mile. Ben Gatt, slight start here, so slight handicap. Don't be fooled by the one car getting away slightly quicker. Away they go. Oh, the Chevy launched itself in the air, but Ben Gatt's going. The Chevy fighting back on the front. I think Gatt's got him. Oh, I think Gatt got him. Have a look.
One for Ford.
Whoa, the Ford got him again. What's wrong with the Chevys tonight?
Ben Gatt, 7.89, 175.37 miles an hour. And Cole Dunn a little later with a 7.59. 7.59, 175.99.
Oh, Chevy got a little sideways there as he tried to come on to Gatt, but Gatt just got away too clean. But what about those times? We're talking about 175 mile an hour.
Andrew Constantinou, a guy who is noted for his performances on his track and his assistants that are endearing themselves to Darryl Eastlake.
Yeah, who will forget?
And in the other lane, Les Winter in the other big shoebox Chevy.
The Butcher sets it up. The blue machine lights up. Ah, look at Les Winter in the white fridge. The crowd are on my side. Chevy's got to get up tonight somewhere along the line. There's plenty of smoke and fumes coming out. Bit of huff and puff out of the Chev when he opened up the lid. They back him up. The girls get a round of applause. So the Butcher gets ready. Andrew Constantinou up against Les Winter in the white fridge. The crowd love the fridge. Should be good shootout this one. Les Winter, that's him you're looking at now. Andrew Constantinou in the blue car. All set, here we go. Watch the fridge. He's got to run from the back. Now the fridge gets it down. The blue butcher's going. The chef comes back. Oh, that's a beauty. That's a beauty. The chef for mine.
In the win.
You beauty. About time too, 164.29 miles an hour with a time of 7.787 seconds. You beauty. Go the wild fridge. Well, the blue butcher got away, the Chevy got away as well, but of course that had a little bit of handicap here, had to run him down from behind, gave him plenty of time too, then kicked it in and have a look at it go. Yes, sir. The Utes are out burning it up, and haven't they lit up the track? Have a listen to the crowd this time round.
The greatest exponent of the Wild Bunch burnout, the man who put the wild into Wild Bunch, is Victor Bray in the Castrol 57 Chev with a massive burnout across the starting line with Jeff Devlin in the fireman's quickie in the other lane.
Have a look at that for a car. Jeff Devlin, great stuff. ACT in the Holden. Oh, isn't this wild? The big Chevy, the Holden's gone. Away goes Bray, the Chevy now. Gets it a bit sideways. Oh, the I think it's going to hold on. Bray comes at him. Too late. Let's have a look at the times. Well, Devlin with a great performance here. He took on Bray, the big bad Bray, and boy, oh boy, his reaction time was just super. It was as good as you get. Bray come at him with everything he had, but the Ute too strong. The fireman's quickie home.
Right, Alan Fountain now in the blue Falcon Ute. Again, Keith Black powered, a large engine in that car. 482 cubic inches of Keith Black, and Lucky Baleri with that little high-winding small block Chev. 280 cubic inches in the late model Commodore. Very, very pretty car, beautifully prepared. But Al Fountain with that monster-motored Falcon Ute over in the pit side lane for the last race of the second round of Wild Bunch Racing.
Alan Fountain now comes the line. We think that Lucky Baleri may have some oil pressure problems. Are looking down that area, Milt. And he was late coming to the line. It was a bit doubtful whether he'd make it or not.
Yes, they sent out for parts, but we don't know what the problem was. But now it's too late. Lucky's on his way.
And he's on his way all right too, but look at Fountain. He picks him up straight away. Fountain's going to get the cash. No doubt about that. The crowd love the Ute getting up. That stirred him up, I'll tell you. The Ute coming home. Let's have a look at the times here. For you, a speed of 159.63 miles an hour. Well, unfortunately, welcome back to Eastern Creek. The heavens have finally opened up here. We've been very lucky over the entire Winfield Triple Challenge. We've had 3 or 4 big storms go round the Eastern Creek Raceway, and you wouldn't believe it, just 3 races to go, the big finals, and the heavens have finally opened up here in the west of Sydney, and the rain absolutely pelting down. And of course, once the track is so wet, just far too dangerous to carry on with any drag racing now. And Millen, it is a disappointment because we've had an enormous crowd here today and we've seen some fantastic racing.
Absolutely fantastic day, and what a disappointment. A lot of disappointed racers as well as disappointed fans. And as you said, so near yet so far.
Well, I'd like to congratulate Sydney for turning out in the numbers that they have. And, of course, I think the whole concept of the Triple Challenge is just fantastic. Touring cars, motorbikes, production and superbikes, the Group A cars, and, of course, the drag cars in all forms of categories here. It really is a great experiment. It's worked so well.
A wonderful day's racing, and let's hope we get it right next year.
Milt, nice to have you with us again, and to people all around Australia, hope you've enjoyed the Winfield Triple Challenge from Eastern Creek. We'll see you next time round on Nine's Wide World of Sports.